Welcome to Clemens Radio. We are back with little Dave, just him and I today. And I think we talked for about an hour.
Right, pretty much.
Yes. I mean, that's the whole reason we started this podcast, right? Is you and I just riding around the car talking bodybuilding bullshit. And like, I think other people would benefit from hearing this.
Yeah.
So if you're out there, we greatly appreciate the support. Like, share, subscribe. That's what we always want. The amount of people I met at North Americans who said they listen to the podcast, watch my videos, watch our Instagrams and how we train, like that's huge, right? And that's the reason I know I do this. And I just feel like has been a shift to such bad information out there. And when I say bad, I mean it's going to literally waste your time. Will all that cute sciencey stuff work for some people? Yes, it will. But if you want slabs of muscle hanging off of your bone to where when you walk into a room, people are like, Jesus Christ, that's either a bodybuilder, a professional wrestler, or an NFL player, that's a good place to be. And that's where I think most of the people that watch this, they want to be. And if you're a female out there listening, you want to be able to put a bikini on or put a tank top on and people see like round delts and muscle through your upper back and massive glutes and legs that bust out of jean shorts, right? Like that shit is a flex. And, I know in this also new world of people not wanting to judge the exterior, we always all are. And this, to me, is a walking billboard for consistency, compliance, and work ethic.
Yep.
And again, I know not everyone may believe that. There's lots of successful people who have physiques all over the spectrum. But in our world, like respect is earned by what you do. And there is no doubt when Dave walks into a room, people know he lifts heavy ass weights and he smashes food. They might not know the modality or what he's into, or if he's like doesn't eat red meat, eats fish, does protein shakes. They know that that man's food is this way, and his training has to be some sort of hard.
Yeah.
And that can't be faked or replicated or bought. It's time, effort, and energy. So again, that's what we do. That's the reason we post the majority of shit we do on social media. Like the amount of my clients who have benefited from your top sets, countless. And because it's always the question is, how is Dave growing like that? Go watch his Instagram. Simple as that. I write his meal plan. I cannot do what he does in the gym for him.
Nope.
That's it. I can't. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, this is a team thing. Yes, as much as I coach you and have been coaching you, I can't make you lift the weights past or to failure.
Yeah. You can't make me eat my food. You can't make me sleep.
Nope.
You can't make me plan ahead. You can't make me drink more water.
Right.
Every single one of those things. Shit, you can't make me take my drugs.
Nope.
Like on that part, but all the things what really do matter, like doing a set of 10 where am I stopping at 10 or am I going to see what else is in the tank? Yep. That takes a different kind of thought process versus like I'm going to do the bare minimum or I'm going to overpay.
Yes.
And one thing with like people with the good physique, like they always overpay. They're not looking for a shortcut. If the plan says, okay, get 8 reps, they're not going to fucking stop at 8 reps. They're going to try to get 12. They're overpaid.
It was really interesting, and I'm sure you can relate to this. A set of 15 to 20, there's that question in your mind when you unrack it, is that even possible? Like, oh shit, this feels heavy. But then once you get going, each progressive rep, I always gain confidence. And it's like, oh, okay, cool, I'm at 8. Now I'm at 11. And now I'm at 14. Okay, cool, I can get this shit. I'm getting close to 20. Like, when I unrack a hack squat and it feels like it's going to crush my spine, that has to fire you the fuck up. Okay, cool. I have to, at minimum, get at least 8. And you get to 8, it's like, I haven't even struggled, or I haven't slowed my speed one bit. Why am I stopping? Why am I doing this? Keep them things fucking locked in and just go, bro. Like, I don't know that. And then you finish one of those sets, and that's what's rewarding about bodybuilding to me. It's like when I unracked that, I didn't think I was going to get above 8, and I got 17.
Yep.
Chance to this day laughs when he's like, "How many are you shooting for?" I'm like, somewhere north of 10, and I'll do 22. And he's like,
Yep.
10, huh?
Yep.
I had no clue. Just get in there and find it. Like,
Exactly. I can't tell you how many times I've taken someone through an exercise program. And I'm like, how many reps do you want me to get? And once we're out of like the feeder sets, it's like, I don't know. Show me what you can do.
like,
Like there's no magical fucking numbers in bodybuilding.
no,
That
agreed.
hypertrophy range was literally from 6 to 100.
Yes. Infinity. Yes. Yes.
Like it's not like you have to have like 8 to 12 reps is the only way place you build muscle.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think I know I made a post about that years ago when you first trained with me. And I was like, I didn't tell you a set total.
No.
Singular time. Everything we did was above 8, maybe 1 below 6. And outside of that, it was just as many as you can get, man. Like, just let it rip. And I know for all the people out there who are hyper analytical and thought driven, that can be a tough thought process to have. And I've been asked multiple times about that. Like, what is your thought process? And I'm like, well, I know a rough range, but I'm not going to stop because I've beaten my top range. Like, it's not, the destination is to the end, not a number. And once you learn to wrap your mind around that, it becomes really fucking simple.
Yeah. The goal with all of the things is legitimately finding failure.
Yeah.
You know?
Great.
So like, what can I do to make this harder? What can I do to make this suck more? Like that's like the fun part. Like go watch how we do like a shoulder fly or like a chest press. Like we bring it down, like it's a controlled negative. We're not just fucking throwing shit around.
Correct.
Like, and there's a pause and there's that. It's like we found ways to make this suck more, and then we got better at it.
Yep. Yeah, I learned that really young. I can't remember which Jay Cutler DVD it was, but the cameraman asked him, or maybe it was one of his training partners, like, how many reps was that? And he's like, I don't know. I've never counted reps in my entire career.
Yeah.
He's like, if you want to know, watch it back.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You go to, it is excruciating, or you can no longer move it without good form. And sometimes maybe even a little sloppy form on the last 2 to 3 in a safe exercise.
Yeah.
I have no problem ripping 2 extra reps on a chest supported row. I'm not going to do that on a deadlift. Right. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm going to turtle shell my back and do that weird like hinge with the hip and like inch up my knees. I'm never going to do that. Or on a squat, I'm not going to go full turtle shell and try to get it up. No, fuck that. I'm not doing a good morning into a squat. We're no longer training legs. What I'm encouraging y'all to do is to be smart and just find ways. Dude, I can get a couple more. Like, a little bit more. So,
and that goes for squats too. I mean, like making it more difficult means not turning yourself into a good morning. That means, driving your hips down, not backwards.
Right.
Knees forward.
Yes.
Torso this way, not this way. That's all. That's going to be as much quads as you can. Yeah, you might suck at that. Like, one plate might be really fucking heavy doing it the correct way, but that's why it's hard.
Yes.
We're not doing it just to lift weights.
Or
like I agree that we're not weightlifters. Our job, it does not matter how much it weighs. Like you could find failure. The thing is, you have to be able to you will get stronger.
I had a good buddy come train with me, and he was like, Chris, I really want to make my squats better. Like, what's your feedback? I was like, well, just come train with me one day, man. Let's just take a look at it. Form was good in terms of execution, but every rep he paused and took a deep breath at the top. Every rep. It doesn't matter if it's a warm-up set or a hard rep. Everyone was all the way down, up, pause, catch your breath. And I was like, cool, all right, man. Like, I want you to pull a plate off there. And I want you to pump them like a piston, and you don't stop at any portion. And I don't care if you do 100.
Yep.
Like, okay, let's try it. He got to like 18, and he's like, I've never felt my quads like that.
Yep.
Because you kept tension on those babies the whole time.
That's where you find that's the time under tension.
Yep.
Right. That's just explained right there. I mean, once you stop at the top, the tension's not on your quads. It's just on your bones.
Yeah, it's hips, knees, back, ankle. Like,
you know.
That, and you know what's funny, on paper, those two sets of 18 can both get checked.
Yep.
One is very different in terms of progression. And
Yep.
that a lot of times I think is what really hurts people who are data driven, where it's like that can't, I mean, I guess you could technically write in 0 pulses, but most people aren't going to do that. They're going to write, I did one, my top set was 18 reps with 365.
Yep.
And you and I both know those are two very different sets.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that goes back to finding ways to make things harder. I mean, like, shit, if I do a hack squat, I come up and rest every fucking time. We could probably find a way to get 50.
Right. Yep.
You know, that's with 6 plates on it. You know, if I'm hanging out at the top long enough, I can do whatever the fuck I want. It's not heavy up there. You know, it's heavy, but it's not on my quads, so they're resting. You know, but if you watch how like me or you train on a hack squat, like we go up, we straighten our legs, but it's for a second. It is this, and then back down.
Right.
You know, we get to the top, and there's a slight contraction, but we never let off that muscle tissue. You know, so like, all right, back into the stretch, then back to the, you know, and it just stays there. And then we get to the point where like shit, or I definitely get it if you have to reset. Like if you're like something's off, like okay, cool, pause the top, that's fine. I'm not saying you can't do that, you know, but we're getting 10 reps before we do that.
Oh yeah. At least, I always say this in my mind: if I can't go 8 continuous, it's too heavy.
Yep.
Or something isn't right. If I pause anywhere, I want to be in the hole. And then that's a whole nother level of pain that I don't want to do every time. Like that's not an every set type of deal.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side of that, like once I do reach a point where I feel like I need to either reset my feet, take 2 deep breaths, regain a little bit of mental composure, and then go again, I may do that 2 or 3 times, but I'm going to get, those are like no more than 3 reps before I have to do that again. And that's the point of like, if I get 8, 3, 2, and 1, I feel pretty damn accomplished. But I've always wondered too, is like, I tend to now lean more to sets where it's like, do as many continuous as you can, take 1 deep breath, and then do 1 or 2 more, and then done.
Yep. So I'm on the same boat as you there, because it's just like, like I said, we're resting on the top, so we're not really like, we're letting our quads take a break. So for me and you, we're just beating our recovery. That's something I get to recover later from. It's just I'm extending the set further.
Correct.
Right. Where I know I will progress from that set because it was as hard as I could make it. Right. And that depends on your skill level. I'm not saying you have to find what you recover from to know where that is.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, like if you haven't been there, go fucking find it.
Right. Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But go train so hard you can't train legs for it hurts for the next 3 fucking weeks.
Yes.
And then take back from there.
Yep.
The problem nowadays is everybody's so fucking scared to be sore on Wednesday when they trade quads on Tuesday.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like I'm training legs today. My legs stopped being sore last night.
Right.
You know, I'm fucking right there. I should be.
Yep. That's the optimal recovery to training ratio. Yes. Yeah. All right. So that was a perfect place to start. So let's switch to nutrition, because I had some notes here. I know with it being the tail end of contest season for most people, that binge eating is at an all-time high. And as we approach what I call like the power 4 of holidays, Halloween, smashing candy. Thanksgiving, that speaks for itself. Christmas speaks for itself. New Year's Eve, and then everyone wants to get on that fucking wagon and be shredded or jacked. After that, let's just like that quad of just utter shit eating. And what I've always found is people, like, they string them things together. Like, well, I ate Halloween candy through November fucking 6th, and it's already close to Thanksgiving. I might as well not get back on a diet. And then it's like, oh, well, Thanksgiving, I ate that through Black Friday, and then now it's on to Christmas. Well, I might as well just have fun because I know I'm going to enjoy myself on New Year's. And it's like, okay, awesome. You took out a chunk of almost the last quarter of the year and didn't do jack shit.
Yep.
Working towards things you say are important to you. So I think the number one thing to say, if we're talking about this time period in specific, before we address post-show binge eating, is to me is this. You and I will never say don't enjoy a meal with your family or two on Christmas, Thanksgiving, and New Year's.
Yeah. Well, I think my favorite comment is abstinence is a poor man's discipline.
Yes.
It's really fucking easy to always say no.
Right.
But knowing when you're being a fuck around and versus when you're not.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
One meal off your plan in the off season will not make you fat.
Not one bit.
It will not fucking matter. You cannot, especially Thanksgiving dinner, have a 1,000-calorie plate.
Yep.
You're not going to be fucking fat the next day. You know, and if you're worried about being fat the next day, you already are fat.
Correct.
As bluntly as I can put that, right? You're not getting fat from one meal.
Right.
You know, it's the consistency of your actions. Now, let's say if that meal turns into the next 40, because from Thanksgiving all the way to Christmas, you ate like that fucking jackass still.
Right.
There's a different issue.
Right.
But it's also funny. I mean, like, you can stay up if you're getting a good place in your off season, wise, your food's up high, right? This is very different if you're dieting. But you're like, okay, cool. What's 80% of this meal? Because I know for a fact, like, I'm gonna guess at Thanksgiving you're gonna have fucking meat and potatoes.
Right. Yes.
You eat that every fucking day anyway. Like, we eat meat and rice or meat and carbs, right?
Yeah.
Make that your base and have some fucking extras. Like, okay, cool.
Yep.
Don't worry too much about it. You know, get back onto your fucking schedule right after that. Your digestion is not going to be fucked. You'll have a good meal with your family. You had fun.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't need to be, food's always going to be there. So it's not like, oh man, we got cookies here. I need to eat all of them.
Right.
You know, like, Jesus, like, your goal has to be in line. Your actions always have to be in line with your goals.
Yes.
That might be a little bit convoluted in the off season where you're like, yes, you have to put on some body fat. Yes, you have to put on some unnecessary, you know, you have to eat more than you want to.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you there's no plan.
Right. Yes. You know, what I've always felt like is vital in those scenarios is I think so many, they just throw their hands up after having one meal and they're like, fuck the rest of the day or the rest of the week. Like, I've never been a Monday starter. Like, you know, there's a lot of people always like, well, I'm going to start after my birthday, or it's not Monday, or, oh, I can't do it through the weekend. Like, I've never felt that way. If I've always been compelled to a goal or an action, I'm starting as soon as possible.
Yeah, there is no time start on those things. It's actually like, as far as I see it, like, if you fucked up, okay, cool. What's the next action step? Like, how can we get, you know, start from there? Not how can I fix this, but how do I remain on my goal?
Right. Oh yeah.
You know, like, that little, like, does not mean, that's one thing I see all the time is this goes on with binge eating, right? Someone's gonna have a cheat meal and then they're like, oh, I need to fix this. So the next 2 meals, I'm only eating protein.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And then meal 3, the third meal comes around and they're like, I'm fucking starving. Here's another fucking cookie.
Right. Oh yeah.
And then the next 2 meals have no carbs again. And it's like, fucking stop it.
Right. Oh yeah.
You know, like, you just dug yourself a bigger hole.
Right.
Like, that's nowhere near your fucking plan because your plan is fucking off season.
Yes. Right.
Your plan isn't to be shredded and have abs year round.
Right. Agreed.
You know, like, stop trying to manipulate that into being a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So cool. If you had your fucking cookie for whatever meal it was, the next meal after that, put it right where it should be. You know, doesn't mean you need to subtract all your food from that meal. You need to add some or add cardio, or add a fast. You know,
agreed. Yeah,
just get back onto it, and that time flying starts anywhere. It's just like, if I'm driving to Vegas and I get a flat tire, do I get out of my car and stab the rest of my 3 tires? Oh man, this tire's fucked up. I'm gonna get the other fucking 3. All right, cool. I'm gonna call AAA. I hope you guys have 4 fucking tires on that truck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, or versus just getting out and putting the spare on.
Pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
You know, if we're speaking about like Thanksgiving, for example, I've always felt like that's the ideal holiday for us bodybuilders. Like,
yeah.
You wake up, you go bang 20, 30 minutes of cardio. You have 2 meals. I'm always it's Thursday. I typically will train legs. After my workout, I'm going to smash a protein shake and some cream of rice and some Rice Krispie treats. Then we'll go to Angela's family and eat, or we'll come back here, wherever house we are. It's her parents
Yep.
or our house. And then I'm going to literally make a plate full of the following. I'm not a big dark meat turkey fan, so I will get tons of turkey breast, mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, and then whatever she makes for dessert, I'll have 1 or 2 servings of it. And then after that, what does Daxon always want to do? He wants to do something outside. I don't know why. That's just what he wants to do. So we'll go throw football, we'll throw baseball, we'll do something to get me moving. And I know, so if you think about those, I've had 3 meals plus an all food planned meal. I need to get 2 more in the rest of the day. If I don't do something to move, it's going to be hard to get those final 2 meals in.
Yep.
It's a leg day, so it isn't light food. So it isn't like, oh, I'll just have another protein shake and a half a cup of oats. No, fuck that. It's going to be 8 ounces of meat, 300 grams of rice, and some fruit, and some olive oil, like 9 times out of 10.
Yep.
Those meals aren't going to be easy if I fucking eat an entire pie, a plate of cookies, and eat so much macaroni and cheese that I can't get off the floor. Like,
yeah.
So if you load those meals right, if you have 2 regular meals, a post-lift shake, and carbs, you will be hungry for that 4th Thanksgiving meal, but not so hungry to where you eat everything.
Yep. And if you are someone that's with a super high appetite, don't do a shake post lift.
Right. Yes.
Do like meat and cream of rice, So don't starve it. That's like the funniest thing. Like sometimes like I get it, like cool, like let's fast a little bit in Thanksgiving.
Right.
But like you just set yourself up to binge eat.
Oh, 1,000%. Yes. Agreed.
And it's like
all your hunger signaling is through the roof. And
yep.
food that you haven't had in your mouth for God knows how long. And it all tastes good and it's loaded with fat and butter. Of course, it's going to go down really quick and easy. And then it's like everything's made. So you're at like a buffet. And it's like, where normally that wouldn't be the scenario. If you wanted to eat that much food, you either had to order it through Uber Eats, go pick it up, or go sit at a restaurant.
Yep.
It's a complete fucked situation if you think about it, if you go in ravenous.
Yep.
That is going to be a recipe to eat, God knows, 5,000 to 6,000 calories. And then again, as I said, good luck getting those final 2 meals in.
Yep. And also like if your next day, like if you eat so much food, you blow, like your digestion gets fucked.
Yes.
You're just shitting the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Like good luck training hard the next day.
Right. Agreed. All right, so we addressed the holiday stuff for everyone. Now let's specifically go into like post-show binge eating. And I'm a big believer in, if you've worked hard, you followed the plan, please go reward your family and friends with having a meal with them.
Yep.
If you're in true show condition, in my words, you have earned that right.
Yep.
If you're still sloppy fat and you're on stage, you've been doing something.
I mean, you've already eaten anyways. It's just like,
right.
Fucking Christ,
So,
but yeah, exactly right. There's no point, especially like if you have another show in 4 weeks coming up, like maybe put a little bit of a lid on it.
Yeah.
But like, have something good. It's more for your, like take your girlfriend out, be like, all right, cool, what do you want to eat, babe?
Right.
Because we obviously haven't gone out to eat in 12 weeks, at least 12 weeks.
Right. Yes. And in the mental release of that, of not having to measure your food, not be precise, have it served to you, there's a lot of benefits to it.
Yeah.
You may not feel in the moment, but I think a lot of times, like what people experience if they've done a prep with either 1 free meal a week or no free meals a week, what they run into is they have all that and it triggers like true, almost like addict mentality, where it's like, man, I need more cookies. I need more ice cream. I want pancakes and French toast for breakfast in the morning. I don't want to go back to my, meat and vegetables or meat and rice. And is there anything that you tend to do with your clients who get into that cycle of where they can't cut that off, that you help them get through that?
I mean, it comes like how you want to rebound them. I mean, because like I've had one guy I got it from a different coach, and like immediately after show, and the coach gave him like 50 carbs. That's it after his show, and he was going in the off season, and he's like, "Dude, I'm just fucking starving all day." I was like, "Cool, let's give you some fucking food. Here's meat and rice."
Shit. Yeah,
like 9 ounces of protein per meal, and like that's a good amount of food by itself. But like the chances of you getting fat on chicken,
yes, or even
that's
steak,
not
for fuck's sake.
Yeah. It's not going to happen.
Right.
And then once that, those hormones came back, we lowered protein amounts, but like it literally was like I gave him an extra 3 cups of rice and I added, what is that? About 7 ounces of protein to his diet.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, so I added, you know, 3 cups of rice and 7 ounces I added a meal, you know, like versus like, so that in calorie rise is like what, 600 versus like a single crumble cookie is 600.
Yes.
If he was already pounding 2 of those a day, like what?
Great.
Which one do you think is going to have a better outcome?
Right. So I'm going to give a ton of secrets here. I never have a problem adding a seventh or an eighth meal to people if they
Yeah.
need it. None.
Yeah.
As you said, I'd much rather them eat meat, fat, vegetable, some carbs than to eat Burger King.
Yep.
And if I can get your meal spacing to 90 to 120 minutes, the probability of being off, if you know that by the end of the day you have to have all that food in you. So if you're looking at all, like say 7 meals plus your intra, man, have the fuck at it. I've even done it to where I've had guys say, man, I get more food on a train day. Can I train every day? I'm like, yeah, as long as you do it smart. So I was like, even if you go in and train biceps for 25 minutes, you
Yep.
can have your training food. I don't give a fuck. But you better make that 25 minutes in the gym useful, get a huge pump, move at a quick pace. I'm good with it. I don't
Yep.
care. Even though it's not what I would consider ideal, I'm fine with it.
Yep.
If I'm trying to get people over binge eating,
Yep.
because the worst thing you can do for a binge eater is give them a day of no carbs and lower fat, and then they're good all day and they're starving at night and they eat their face off and it's a perpetual cycle. And they come back to me like, Chris, I fucked up again. I was good all day until, meal 6, meal 7. So I almost like to lean into shit that may go against some of my like philosophy as a whole if you can't get your eating under control.
Yep.
And like you said, if you're constantly ravenous, 9 times out of 10, it's all here because you've been hungry for the last 12 weeks, probably. What is your reasoning? Like when you experience that just utter need to just smash shit food and eat beyond normal, what's going on in your brain? We gotta get to the bottom of some of that stuff. And what can we do in its place to fix that? And
Yeah.
sometimes it just comes down to saying, damn it, I'm going to hold myself to a higher standard today. And then I did it yesterday. Cool. I can do that again. And as you and I have talked about, with consistency comes confidence. And you
Yep.
keep building it. And like, oh man, I made it a whole week without eating bullshit. Now I'm going to go have a meal with my wife or girlfriend. I'm going to eat an incredibly good meal and I'm not going to overeat. Okay,
Yep.
cool. I did that for 3 weeks now. By that point, I have your food so fucking high, you don't even think about it. And the problem is, most people can never get to that point where, like I have you right now, because they've spent so many times binge eating, their weight goes up, and then I have to pull their food back down to get their weight and blood pressure under control. And it's this like cyclical cycle of binge eat to starving, binge eat to starve. And it's like, you handcuff me as a coach when you do that.
Yep.
Because the worst thing we can do is you have edema into the first joint of my finger in your legs. Your blood pressure reads ridiculously high. You can't train hard because you're sweating and out of breath. You can barely tie your shoes. Like, that's a terrible situation to be in. So it's like, cool, what do I do? Do I take your food high to where you just don't eat bullshit and then you just start packing on body fat because your insulin sensitivity is garbage? Or do I
Yep.
say, hey, you got to find a way not to get to eat? We'll get that 15 pounds of water off you, then we can restart this process. And both of those are neither of those are ideal scenarios.
Yeah.
Um, and I know that because I've been through them with clients and personally.
Yep.
Like, no one wants to do a brutally hard diet plan, get in shape, compete, eat like an asshole for a week, and go back to eating nothing. When I say nothing, it's lower food and lots
Yeah.
of cardio. So all of those have been techniques that I've used. A fun drug thing is if you really can't get under control, take 100 mgs of Anadrol a day for a week. That'll kill your appetite.
Yep. Or
Oh,
Milano-tan too, if you really want to go that route, if you want to be tan as well.
yeah,
But
right.
like,
Another great option. So at the end of the day, it comes down to this, right? Because anyone that I've had that's gotten through that has always looked back on that and been like, God, I was great for 16, 20 weeks, and I couldn't hold together for 3. And I'm like, yeah, man. Like, and it sucks because then you're setting up yourself for a bad off season.
Yep.
Because when we get to your health phase, I have to get that fat down so that your fucking blood work isn't hot garbage.
Yep.
I know bodybuilding gets a bad rap for health markers and doing damage. I would argue that binge eating causes more damage than any amount of tread.
Uh-huh.
And sadly, there's no studies to prove that. I have nothing that I can do to prove that, other than just seeing people go through that.
They actually did just do a really cool study on
Oh, hell yeah. Okay.
processed foods versus non-processed foods.
Okay.
It was an interesting one because they actually didn't. They legitimately just had people like they used like a rehab facility where the people were there 24 hours a day, and they took like half of the place. Right, they fed them whatever was normal, and then they took a group and they gave them just high palatable like foods, but they got to choose what they ate.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Nothing was forced. That's the interesting part of this, right? Yeah. And the other side of the group, right? They gave them all single ingredient foods, chicken, rice, etc.
Right.
And it was actually crazy because calorie wise, right? Both the food group, right? The one that was a single food group, they were eating about 2,600 calories a day. Yeah. And by just like they didn't measure anything, but they were pretty much guessed. The people who were studying were writing down what they were eating. Mm. So they wasn't like amazingly accurate. But then on the same side, they wrote down what they were eating on the processed food one. Yeah. And they were eating a little bit more, they were eating like 2,800 calories on average. Okay. But the rate of inflammation was drastically higher. And the rate of fat gain was way higher over here, where the people over here actually lost weight.
Right. Not surprised.
And so like the thing is like, they were just eating whatever the fuck they wanted. Right. Like the choices were limited.
Yes.
But that's it. And it was like, oh, cool, that's interesting. So I mean, us saying like, oh, I've never seen someone get fat on chicken and rice is somewhat accurate.
Yes. You're right. Yeah.
Where I've seen plenty of people get fat on, Pop-Tarts and protein shakes.
Fuck yeah. And even fucking peanut butter, for Christ's sake, like putting that on fucking everything.
Yeah,
that's my slight peanut butter rant. Can I tell you that's one bodybuilding food that I actually grown to hate over the years? Like, I do like a Reese cup. I'm not gonna try to say that I don't, but I'm gonna choose almond butter over peanut butter 100 times out of 100.
Oh yeah, actually, 100%.
I used to love it when I was an early bodybuilder.
Yeah,
and then I don't know. Once I got to like 35, I was like, I think I like almond butter better. I don't know. It's a palate change.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times.
Well, peanut butter, talk about binge eating. I swear to God, that's got to be the biggest one. Yeah. I have seen people like, those like American nut butter companies where they have like cookies mixed in them.
Yes.
I've seen people eat that entire fucking jar backstage. Like they haven't even left the fucking venue yet. And they're just like fucking eating spoonfuls. It's like, read this fucking calorie size on the back. It says there's 32 fucking servings in there and they're 200 calories a serving. Like, what? Do the fucking math there.
Yes. Yep. Agreed. I saw a guy once taking my cookie dealer and dipping it into one of those. I'm like, yo, bro, this already is 1,000 calories. I think you're good not to have a dipping sauce.
Right. Yeah, it's one of those. Food's always going to be there. Like, there's nothing wrong with having something good, especially post show. Like, go have something good, but like, this isn't like the last time you're ever going to eat.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. Yeah. There's going to be other opportunities, and I think that's the biggest thing to kind of wrap this topic up is a lot of times you just have to take a deep breath and be like, I got this. I'm good. And if you find that you have triggers, or whatever that may be, don't do it. Like if you feel yourself wanting to go to the fridge, go take your dog for a walk, take a nap, go fuck your wife or girlfriend. I'm telling you, if I'm having sex, I'm not thinking about food. Just not. If I go for a drive in my car, yes, could I technically stop?
Other than going hypo.
Yeah. Yes. You were sweating like a motherfucker. You all right? I'm really getting it, bro. And then collapse. Terrible. It's not a good situation. Um, yeah, but I mean, go for a ride in your car. I mean, listen, I've done all types of things. Like I've taken Ty and Dax into a driving range and just hit golf balls.
Uh-huh.
All scenarios where the opportunity to take food is none. Like I'll just take my water and go. And I think that's a lot of times when people are like, the worst thing you can do to me is go look and have someone go look in the fridge, look in the cabinets. Like you're not going to find anything good.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not going to come out of my cabinets that's loaded with stuff that have for an 8-year-old and convince me that that's what I need to put in my mouth. Like,
Yeah.
because listen, if I'm a single dude live by myself, it's not going to be in the house. But when you have a kid, like we'll always have something in there that could lead me to making a bad choice. And
Yeah.
so what am I going in there for? Another cool thing that I'll do is like go have a diet soda, go have a coffee. Like,
Yeah.
I know for some people like that's a trigger, like to say go at Starbucks and have an Americano and like read a book or take your computer and work because they'll want to buy something behind the counter. But that's not me. I'm not gonna go buy one of the Rice Krispie treats or get one of those shitty sandwiches. So there's,
I legitimately, the Rice Krispie treats from Starbucks are okay,
yeah, they're good.
but yeah, they're pretty good. But like, those sandwiches don't look fucking. They're fucking microwaving back there. Like they're fucking a Jimmy Dean's breakfast sausage, basically, and they're charging you $8 for it.
Right, correct. Yes.
Like every time I see one of those, I'm just like, I know I'm broken and I'm not like most people, but I'm like, well, $8, I could probably buy about 2 pounds of chicken for that.
Right. Yes.
That's probably about 4 meals
How many
worth of
pounds of
just chicken,
rice did you buy?
right? Exactly. Actually, talk about that. I was at Costco the other day,
Okay.
and so far we're on my third 25-pound bag of rice for the off season.
That's incredible.
I was laughing about that. I was like, yeah, since we started this off season, I'm on bag number 3.
Right.
So
Like your rice supplies like as much as the Chinese restaurant. That would be
yeah,
incredible.
right.
Yeah. So Benjini, make a decision, stop. Because listen, you either are going to get morbidly obese or it's eventually going to come to an end. So
Yeah.
those are 2 options. The next topic that I had written jotted down here that I wanted to talk about, and it's right along the same lines that what we just got off of, is everyone's in a race to get their dream physique, whether that be you do one of those like weight loss challenges, you do a bodybuilding show, you get shredded for summer, fill in the blank, a wedding, whatever it may be. And then the people, once they capture it, they don't know what to do with it. It's always like, cool, I've achieved it. Guess what? That's where the work doesn't stop there, because you can go back to where you were real quick.
Yeah.
And that's what I was telling you before we started, is the beauty in all of this with maintaining a high quality physique is it's never ending. Because the moment you or I stop caring what goes into our mouth, stop lifting weights, stop doing cardio, we will either get fat or get small or both.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like it's inevitable. Like in order to maintain muscle tissue in a lean composition, you have to stay on top of it.
Yep.
And that's a concept that I think, I don't know about the rest of the world, but in America, we don't think about. And I've been a part of so many challenges when I used to work at Gold's, where it's like 12-week corporate challenge. And it's like, we go to Advanced Auto, we take everyone's body fat, their scale weight. Whoever lost the most body fat percentage over the course of like 12 weeks and the most scale weight, they would win this massive prize. Like we were giving away thousands of dollars and gym memberships for a year, training sessions, you name it. And people would get crazy results in those 8 or 12 weeks, however long we did it. And then I'd see them in a year and it's like all of it's back plus some. And I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, you worked for 3 months busting your ass. And then you just said, fuck them.
I mean, dude, when I I think I was like 19.
Okay.
I was working and we had one of those weight loss challenges.
Yes.
So being a wrestler, I think it was like a $400 like gift card to the store.
Oh, hell yeah.
I legitimately like that day they weighed us. It was a weight loss challenge.
Okay.
I
Yep.
was eating salt packets and ramen noodles the whole day and slamming water the day of the weigh-ins.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I put on like 14 pounds of water
Right.
for that day. And
Right.
then I did the opposite for the weigh-ins when they weighed us in again. I did nothing to my diet, by the way.
Okay.
When I was like I was still just bodybuilding.
Right.
But then I just did a water cut for the 2 days prior to the weigh-ins.
Yes.
And I had a weight difference of like 30 pounds.
That's great.
I legitimately won that gift card,
Oh,
and it was
yeah.
like the best thing ever because it went immediately just into bodybuilding funds.
Right.
But I was like, yeah, y'all can fuck yourself because I lost no body fat.
That's incredible. Yeah, we did one of those once, and we would always encourage people to buy training, right? To
Yeah,
maximize that. So one of my clients, she was on a pretty damn good mission. I think we had lost at that point like 50 pounds,
yeah,
and she had signed up. And at that time, it was the first place got $1,000 cash, a year free membership to the gym, and then like 20 personal training sessions. So she said, "Do you think I can win this?" And I was like, "If you treat this next 8 weeks like a contest prep, like I would one of my bikini girls, I bet you could at least get third place, which was still a good prize."
yeah,
And we did something very similar. So before her weigh in, like you could weigh in all day. So the gym closed at 11 p.m.
yeah,
I said, "Look, I need you to do your weigh in at like 10:30, and I need you to just I carb loaded her all day." And then I said, have your free meal for the week right before you weigh in. And then on your way here, just drink as much water as you can and do not piss. So she did that. She was mortified at what her scale weight was.
yeah,
Because she normally weighed in the mornings, right? And
yeah,
I was like, take a deep breath, we'll be good. So she kicked ass, like serious ass. She was doing double session cardios, training with me 5 days a week. Like it was like good hard work. And we followed just a normal diet, like I put a competitor on, and then I just did what I would do for like you said, a wrestler weight cut. We restricted water. I had her fast all day, and we weighed in. So we fasted the whole day before, and then I had her weigh in first thing in the morning,
yeah,
following day. And man, she slaughtered people.
yeah,
And the second and third place people are like, it's unfair. You had Chris, and she's like, that's why I pay him.
yeah, exactly.
It was incredible. Like, and of course, the gym like highlighted that, the winner was worked with a trainer at the gym, and it was me. And we like made a video about how she was successful. And she was like, that was incredible. And, the cool thing about that and her was she continued to build off that progress. It actually fired her up that in 8 weeks, she could see that much change in her physique.
Yeah,
And it was almost one of the things she's like, where do we go now, Chris? I'm like, we just continue. And, you know, that's really hard for a lot of people because that moment is like, okay, cool, I won or achieved a look. Now I need to go reward myself. Well, as we talked about with the binge eating, yes, go have a meal, celebrate. But then guess what? When you wake up the next morning, we still have to maintain this or progress it.
yep,
For you and I, it's easy because it's like, okay, cool. Like we did a show, we competed. Now it's time to get better and bigger. I think for a lot of people, they're like, if they truly reach their body fat level that they want, they're almost lost and have nothing else. And
yeah,
something I learned in the training world years ago was if you have a client who actually achieves what they set out to do with you, you have to create another goal for them.
yep,
The goal isn't just, okay, cool, I'm at 8% body fat and I can bench press 225. Okay, awesome. What about if we did 315 and you gain 20 pounds of muscle? Like,
yeah,
that's the next logical progression to me. Or if you have a female and like, okay, great, I look incredible, I'm down to 20% body fat. What if we got to 12? Like, or what if we start training and you ran a 5K or you competed in a CrossFit event? Or, have you considered doing a bikini competition? Or, fill in the blank. It's always what I always instilled upon my clients, at least, was what's next?
yep,
False. This arbitrary, I'm healthy, I'm in shape, I just want to keep doing this doesn't work for many people.
no,
You have to have something when you wake up to chase.
yep,
What is it?
Well, I think that's why me and you get this so easy is because we love training.
Correct. Yes.
And to get better at training, I was like, okay, cool, I've got to eat more.
Right.
And then you get more specific on what you have to eat.
Yes.
Your training demands it, right? You know, it's like I can't train hard above 15% body fat.
Right.
So that needs to stay in check. It's like, okay, you know, let's see, figure out, you know, and then all those things came in place because we love something, right?
Yes.
I was like, all right, cool. I'm eating this. Like, I may not like chicken and rice in the moment. I know how to prepare it clearly, so it's fucking delicious.
Right.
But yeah, like sometimes something else looks better. But you know what looks best? Being able to train fuck it the way I want to.
Yes.
You know, that's what's fueling my progression there.
Yeah.
And it's so many people forget that. And that's what goes back to their binge eating or not wanting to go to the gym or finding like they're getting complacent. They're like, oh, I'm, you know, 8% body fat and I can bench 225. It's like me and you were like, we got there, we're like, cool. Like immediately it was like, I want to do 225 for, you know, more.
Yes. Yep.
You know, like if we, you know, and it was like, and it was just that. It was like, okay, well, how do we do that? You know?
Yeah.
And versus
I remember the first time I squatted 315 for 20, and I was like, that's fucking cool. But what if I could do it with 4 plates?
yeah.
Like when you do 315 for a hard 20, 405 is a long time away.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of that was already in my head.
Yeah.
And what I would think logically about was like, okay, cool. Like, what if I could do 365 for 20? And then from there, 365 to 405, like what time gap do I have to take to get there? And like you said, that's just exciting for me. When I stepped away from bodybuilding, I think a lot of people are always curious, like, what are you going to wake up and do? And I'm like, I will set hard goals for myself of cool shit to accomplish.
Yep.
Something I always thought was cool was like how fewest sets I could do 100 perfect pull-ups with.
Yep.
I guarantee you, if I woke up the Monday after my last bodybuilding show and tried to do that, it would be pathetic.
Yeah.
Like it
would
would
like
be
that was 11 sets, man.
yeah, like horrible. But it's like little shit like that to wake up and chase. Like I'm always like I'm gonna want to train my body.
Yeah, some way, yeah.
And I will still probably always go back to bodybuilding because it's fun. Like,
yeah,
like getting a pump, it's fun. But I will have to have other goals in there to really fuel that. Like, what's gonna make me eat right? Well, if I eat like garbage, I feel like shit, I look like shit. That's a really easy.
Yep. I like the analogy of we've all seen this probably in right. We all know of idea of it, right? But you got a horse with pulling a cart, and there's a stick with a carrot hanging from it, and the horse is looking at the carrot, right? Fucking, it wants that, right? But the thing you don't see is what that horse is pulling. And that horse is pulling all that effort. It's that horse is pulling. It's eating 6 meals a day. It's that horse is pulling the, you know, training your face off until you don't like, you know, until you actually hit failure. It's the getting the actual sleep. The horse is pulling all those things because it wants that.
Yes.
Right. And so many people forget what that horse never fucking gets that carrot.
Yes.
That horse takes a step, that carrot inches forward, right? Every time you get closer toward it, it keeps moving. There is no there, you know, especially with your fitness related goals. Like they're legitimately like, you know, first time you get lean, you're like, cool, I'm fucking shredded, but I'm missing my hamstrings. I don't have deep enough abs. I don't have wide enough shoulders. It's like, okay, cool. You cannot stay being shredded and fix those two problems.
Right. Agreed.
You know, that turns me going to not being shredded so I can put on those muscle, you know, and then coming back to being shredded and seeing what it looks like.
Yep.
But then when you get to that point shredded again, you're like, okay, cool, all right. And then this, you know, and other aspects like, okay, maybe it can pose better, this, you know. Yep. And you're like, all right, what work requires that? But you see in the carrot, but the effort behind you is what's doing all of the, you know, the stuff that you're pulling is the reason why you're there. You know, that farmer's you're not gonna be a fucking pulling that wagon if that farmer doesn't see you pulling it.
Yep. Yeah, you know, it's why I always refer to bodybuilding to me at least as a white rabbit that I never catch.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
You know, I've said this to you many times. Our 19-year-old self would be thrilled with how we look right now.
Yeah.
But my 39-year-old self is not happy with where I'm at. Like,
Yeah.
what we thought originally we would probably be thrilled and ecstatic and doing high fives to each other at 19 is drastically different than at 20, than at 30, than at 40. Well, almost 40.
When I was 19, I legitimately was stoked to measure my arms and they read 13.
Right. Yes.
That's because I put 3 fucking inches on my arms.
Yep.
You know?
Right.
Like if I did that now, I'd be fucking like, what the fuck happened? You know, like but I remember I was jumping up and down, you know, when I was 19, that was the case. It was like, oh cool, that's awesome, you know.
Yeah.
It keeps moving.
I remember like the first time I hit 315 on a single on a bench press. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Then I
Yeah.
look over in the gym that I was at, like it had some big dudes in there, and they're like feet off the ground, like just playing with 315. And I'm like, one day, motherfucker.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
day. And then we get there, and it's like, for me at least, I've never been content with anything I've ever achieved in this.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Agreed.
always more, better, something. I've been very lean before, but I'm always like, God, motherfucker, I've never been as lean as John. And it's like,
Mhm.
always there, I've always thought about like chasing something is the reason that always propels us forward. And it's that theory, right? Of I'm going to run faster from getting chased by a tiger than if I'm just running in the road.
Yep.
Like, you almost have to just set yourself on fire. And like
Yep.
that, I think is what always burns inside of me. Because to this day, I've never gotten off stage and looked at any NPC photo or a photo that someone's taken and been like, it's over. It's done. I've got what I've wanted.
Yeah.
I've been like, that's a cool photo, but there's holes here, 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 here. And you look at a different angle, and it's like, oh no, I need them there, there, there. Like, maybe that's just instinctually what you and I are.
Yep.
Where it's like we should be satisfied, but it's not even close. Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's and that's what makes us good at what we do. You know, if we got satisfied when after our first show, like cool, like that's notable. Like we definitely did that. But what would we not have learned? You know, could be doing a million other things, but like the one thing I do know I love is training for bodybuilding.
right.
You know, it's like why would I give that up?
Yeah.
You know, I wholly understand not doing it. Like it's definitely not easy to do all the time. Like there's plenty of other things I definitely could be wanting to do, or would be easier to do without it. But the thing is, I love it.
Right.
You know, so that's just part of the game.
I've always related that to people who've said those things to me, and I've always said, you love your spouse, right? And they're like, yeah, like, do you always treat her 100% great? And they're like, well, no. I was like, it's the exact same shit. It's bodybuilding's the same shit.
Yeah.
You may love it, but there are days when it's harder to love.
Yep.
And to me, that is the equation that you and I get right. Those hard days are we find a way to get better.
Yep.
Right? It isn't just always when everything's perfectly aligned and I feel incredible and I'm fired up because I just saw an Olympia video. Like the days where you wake up and it's like, fuck, like this isn't going to be easy today. And yet we still eat 6 meals. We still drink our 1 to 2 gallons of water and we still get in there and train our face off. Or we rest when our brain says, bro, go, you can get a workout today. It's like, nope, we're going to rest. Our body needs it. We're going to get a massage. We're going to stretch. We're going to do our foam rolling. We're going to do our TVA stuff and chill. And that, to me, like bodybuilding, is how you build a successful marriage, right? There are days when it'd be way easier if I didn't do all the family shit that I had to do and just laid my ass on the couch and watched football and took naps. But I know what I signed up for when I married my wife.
Yep.
Now, on the flip side, there's obviously really rewarding times when I get to be with my family. Like, when they're there at a bodybuilding show, or I get to go watch and coach Daxton in football, or it's our anniversary, go have a nice meal together. Like, those are all benefits of being in a committed relationship. But there are obviously times where being a single bodybuilder would be way easier for chasing my physique goals. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, no, listen, not many people are going to fucking sit here and say that, but it's the truth. Like,
Yep.
And when you have a supportive spouse like my wife's, like she realizes like there's some times where I need to be a single bodybuilder. And what that means is she takes the boys, leaves me alone, lets me nap my ass on the couch and not do jack shit. I'm not truly single.
Yeah.
I have the house to myself. I have no responsibility. She's done all of that stuff that I would normally need to do or help with. And she allows me to be me in that moment. So it's the same shit. Like it may not be fun waking up and doing fasted cardio before work, or if you don't do it fasted before, having to do it after your workout, all suck. Like it's not fun.
No.
But we're going to check off that damn box no matter how difficult it is.
Yeah. It may not be fun, but like I think we get excitement out of it because of the, what it actually gives us.
Yes, agreed.
Like we both know going to that cardio session is like adding to like stretch and mobility. I know for a fact we don't like that.
No, no.
Like there's a million other things I could be doing right now,
Right. Yes.
And the mobility shit allows me to train the way I want.
Yes.
That's that fucking simple. It's like if I don't do that, I can't do this.
Yep.
And I like doing this.
Yeah, right. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. And to go back to my wife example.
Yeah.
If I don't treat her right, I don't get what I want out of our relationship.
Yeah.
Which is love and support.
Yeah.
Like you have to do that shit. And I know you feel the same way with this, is there's nothing more refreshing to me than when I get on a piece of cardio and my legs are heavy in a contest prep and everything in my body says, don't do this, take the day off. I complete it. And I'm like, man, I feel really good.
Yeah.
I felt so accomplished. Or, you go into the gym and you're like, maybe your whole body hurts and you know that if you just give your all for the next 30, 45 minutes, like it's going to be beneficial. And you get in there and you roll through your 5, 6, 7, 8 work sets and you're like, man, that was a fucking good session. I'm glad I didn't quit on that or quit on myself, however you want to look at that. That's rewarding.
Yep.
Because listen, we all can do this shit when things feel good and your body feels great and everything's aligned and you have no stress and all your bills are paid and nothing is off. We all can do that. That's fucking cake. But can you train legs with me and then get on a flight home to Utah in 15 minutes?
Right. With
No.
all my meals on me.
Correct. That's not easy. Like in hindsight, you could have probably just went home that day and we could have hung out that morning, called it a day. We had 2 good training sessions. We're going to fuck that. We're going to go blow our legs up to the point where we can't stand up straight.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Now let's go home.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that feeling of accomplishment to me, everyone, I'm sure you could have easily looked at me halfway through that workout like, Chris, it's 1 o'clock. My plane leaves in 2 hours. I probably should go to the airport. Nope. Sorry. We're finishing that fucking session.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to finish up with wrap on? Or are we covered off?
I think that's about it.
Agreed. So, end of the day, binge eating, you just got to stop. It's a mental thing. Quit, replace the time. And then last thing with your physique, man, like it will always be work to maintain it or progress.
Yep.
Once you achieve it, you never have it because it's the next goal or just this current physique is going to be harder to maintain every day that you get older.
Yep.
It's a weird fact to consider, right? So until next time, Chris, Dave, we are done.